Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for Journaling on a Budget. This is our Memory Lane lap book. And so we're going to go through how far we've got it so far. And so when you open it up, we have our center journaling book, and this is where you can journal. You can put lined pages in here. I chose to put some colored pages in there, but you can put whatever you want in there, and then those are held in with elastic, so you can take those pages out when they get full or per your trip or whatever and set them, put them somewhere else and then put new pages in. You can also, if you want to just take your lap or your writing book in somewhere, or just take it to your chair or something, you can take that right out. Or if you feel it's in your way, you can take it out and then put it right back in again. So we have this part already completely done. We have two sides to our lap book. One side is going to be more like an old-fashioned journal, and the other side is going to be more of your tucks and that type of thing, for kind of like a lap book. But so far on this side, this is the side we are going to do our Memory Lane journal. So as you open it up, we have our cover here, and when we open the cover up, that is where the map for our Memory Lane is. And so here is our little town, and we have that whole map there. So, and it's just hard to show, this type of thing underneath the camera because it's so close. We also have our this is a little pen box to keep our pen in. And then we just have the inside cover of our original book, which I love the way that looks. So that is that side of our journal. And then if we close that side up and we go to the other side, on this side we also have the inside covers of our book. And now those covers may wind up being completely covered, a little covered, we're not going to know till we get there. But and then we also have a pen box on this side. So to start with, something real easy that we need to do is, when you have a pen in your pen box, it could be kind of hard to get in there and get that pen out. So especially if your pen's just as long as the box, then you can't get if it's a shorter pen, it's only this long, you could put your finger in there and grab it and then lift it out. But we don't want to have to go to all that trouble. So I just have a piece of cardstock here that is smaller than the length of my box. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a lifter for our pen. So the box is about 1.5 inches tall. So we're going to want about 1.5 inches plus 1/2 inch across the bottom plus 1 inch up the other side. So we're going to cut this at 3 inches because we're just going to put a little foldy paper in there, and you do want cardstock for this. If you don't have cardstock, glue a few pieces of book page together or regular paper together so that it's just heavier, because it's going to lift your pen out of there for you. So I'm going to go here to start with, and I don't want this to be I don't want it to be any taller than my box, or our box won't shut. So we are going to just I'm going to give it a little fold right there just as a starter. And then I'm going to come back just a little bit from that, because that fold is on the top of my box. So I don't want it to be quite that tall. So we're just going to fold that across like that. And then we need to have the width of the bottom of our box approximately. So I'm just gonna hold this on the bottom of my box just like that. And I'm gonna go like that. That's just a non-measuring thing there, because I'm lazy. You can measure that, and then I'm gonna fold it there. Okay, so now we have this lift that will go in here. And because of laziness and I'm measuring, my bottom is a little bit, it's a little bit too wide. It really doesn't want to fit in there. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so that the bottom of this will fit on the bottom of our box. And then we're going to put a little tab on this also. Well, I'm really getting crooked. Okay. There. Now it will fit in there. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to scrap that. You know, things happen. And you just kind of go with the flow. I could have put a tab on that, but why not just leave our paper a little bit tall so it sticks out this side? And then we don't have to put a, because otherwise that fits all the way in there. We would need something to pull it out. Excuse me. So let's skip that one and let's do another one. Alrighty, so I'm going to go with 3.5. And then I'm going to use this kind of as a bit of measurement. I want to see if that back piece, oh, what the heck. Let's just do this. All right, so that is not quite 1.5. So I'm going to mark this. At not quite, I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch shorter than 1.5. Come over here, 1/8 of an inch shorter than 1.5. And I'm going to put one in the middle, 1/8 inch shorter than 1.5. And I am going to draw a line because I cannot even see those. Wow. I can't find them at all. I guess we're going to be doing that again. Okay, it's right there. Okay, that one is right there. I was looking up too high, and the other one is right here. Is that right? Yes. Okay. I'm still going to draw a line on there so I can see where I need to fold it. If you have a scoreboard, you can use a scoreboard to score it. Then you don't even have to worry about marking it. But this works just fine. All right, now I'm going to slide this into my box and see if this is the height of my box. And yes, it is. Looks like, I think my box is just a touch crooked, so it's a little bit tall, but it should be just fine. All right, now, how wide is our box? Box is about 1/2 inch. So this time we'll actually mark 1/2 inch. And we'll get it. And I could have just started over. You never would have known that I messed this up. But the whole point is to show you what it's really like to make a lap book, what it's really like to make a journal in general. No matter what you're doing when you're crafting, it's going to happen. You know, you're going to have things that didn't work out the way you thought they were going to. And so you just fix it. It's not a big deal. Nobody does anything perfectly, and especially the first time you're doing it. Because I've actually never made a pen box inside a book before. So, you know, this is my first time too. There we go. Alrighty. So now we have this, and we have one side that's taller than the other. I'm going to just round those corners on that taller side, just for looks. And at some point I might come in and distress the edges. You know, I don't know. And now what we're going to do is the long side is going to be in the front of your box. See how it sticks out? That's so you can grab a hold of it and pull your pen out. So let's take our pen, put our pen in there, and we're going to shut the box inside of that holder. So now we have that there. So now when we open up our box, we'll be able to grab this, pull it out, and look, voila, there's our pen. So that way, that is how we can get our pen out of there without having to try and fish down in there. And my fingers are almost a little fatter than the box. So, you know, when I do that, I'm kind of like really bending the box out. So that is a really good way. And this also works with pockets. We'll probably we'll be doing lifters like this. I call it a lifter. I don't know what they are. It's just something that I got tired of trying to dig things out. And so I decided to start doing this in different places. So there we go. We have a lifter in our box. Alrighty. So now talking about messing things up, this is our lap book. In any kind of journal or lap book or anything else, you know, you wind up getting to the point where you kind of get a bit of alligator mouth, but this really does not shut very well. This is too much. And I thought that I added, when I measured, I thought I added the width of my book and the width of my book plus enough to put this in when I measured my spine. Now this part of the spine is actually a lot bigger than this part of the spine, so maybe it's just that I glued it in correctly, or I just, you know, didn't add for my book in the middle. I don't like it. Can be whatever you call it, alligator mouth. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. We still have all of our space over here. We still have this space over here. So, but I do not like that. To me, that's a lot of pressure on the spine. Plus, you know, we're already going to have other things that are going to make it a little fatter. So we need to fix that. And so in order to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that spine off. And again, this is something I could have done, not even told you that it happened. And, you know, you probably wouldn't have noticed that I made the spine a little bigger, but I want you to know that these things happen and they can be fixed. And, you know, maybe we'll rip the spine, maybe we won't. We'll find out, because we're going to just do that right now. Like I said, the front was a lot wider than the back. The front is this wide and the back is this wide. And I think that that may be what I did, was I just put this too far onto my front cover. Now we're going to see, is this going to come off or not? And if you're careful, you know, we've got the fabric there. Hopefully that won't rip. This cover is very solid. You can tell it's a linen type cover, plus it's shiny. We got the fabric between the glue that we're pulling off and our cardboard. So I'm hoping it does not. There. Okay. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this spine smaller. How am I going to do that? I think I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to say, okay, because I have the corrugated cardboard, I am going to, will still be a touch alligator mouth, but I'm going to fold it instead of being glued up to here. I'm going to do it like over in this area here, which should be enough room for that to fit in. Like I said, once you start putting stuff in there, it will still be alligator mouth. But I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fold it at 3 corrugation marks. If you don't have the corrugated cardboard, then you would just measure. It looks like this is about a 1/2 inch. And if I feel at the end like this is not strong enough, I can come in and put a new spine over the whole thing to hold it together. Okay, now there I can really see 3. I'm getting off a little bit here, so I want to adjust that. Okay, so now that is where I'm going to put this spine. Like that. So now it's going to fold way over there. And so then, if we put this back in here, and put this together. So now I've got that in there, got this here, got this here. And if I glue that right there, that's gonna be much better. I'm really gonna like that. So I'm gonna wind up gluing that and weighing it down off camera because you've seen me glue them all. And when I glue it, it definitely is going to show this here. So at some point we'll go in, we'll paint that, we'll do something with that. You know, we don't have to worry about that right this second. And so yeah, but there is one thing that I do want to do, and that is I don't like this cover. I want to cover this cover. And I found what I want to cover it with. I'm going to just set this part of the book aside. This is what I want to cover. And actually, these are splitting. They're not super solid, even though we did put the fabric on the inside. You know, we'll have to see about what we're going to do here. I haven't decided. I may just put the clear tape over them so I can keep them. We may wind up covering these also. But this is the front cover of our book. And I want to cover that with something. So I found what I wanted to cover it with. Because this is memory lane, I thought that it would be really cool to cover it with this. This is Stamperia rice paper. So, and again, you can make your own. Like if you want something that looks a little like this, you can use tissue paper to do it or anything like that. Rice paper's a little bit strong, so that's, and I found this at my craft outlet and really fell in love with it. I didn't know at the time it was going to be for this, but then when I got home and I was looking at it, it was like, oh, that will be awesome. So because our book has a lot of browns in it, because I had originally thought about doing like the United States, but we can put that maybe somewhere else in our book. I think I want to go to this section because it does still have some blues on it, but it has a little bit more of the browns, which to me goes better with the book. But if you can see this, that logo in the center is showing up, or the picture there, through our rice paper, and I don't want that. So I am just going to, so, you know, and that's the thing, when you look at something, go, oh, I really wanted to do that. If it doesn't work, just think, well, how can I make it work? I'm going to make it work by just painting over that so that we can't see it. And I'm not super concerned whether I cover the book completely with the paint. I just kind of want to make sure that I get rid of as much of that red as I can. The rest of it I want to just thin out. Now let's see. Alrighty. So I am just going to do it like that, let it dry, and then if that red shows up a lot, I'll put a second coat on it. But that's how we're going to take care of that problem. And again, if I had had solid paper to put on there, I wouldn't have had to worry about that. I could have, you know, used something, you know, even like this is our back cover, but I could have used something like that to put on the front, and I wouldn't have had to cover that up. But because I wanted to use the rice paper, and that was in my way, I just had to figure out a way to fix it. So, let's see, we're doing that, and we need to still, we've got our front cover here is attached with our map on it, but we still want to attach the same cover to the back of our journal. So I've got that one glued, and this was just the inside, I don't know what they call them, fly page or something like that. These were the two inside covers of the book for the back. And so all I'm going to do is I am just going to mark this. Let me see. Yes, because it's going to have to close, so it has to be marked above my box in order to make it only as tall as that. Now, this is sticking out, so I think I'm actually going to make it even a little shorter than that. I'm going to go up. This has bricks on it, so I'm going up a brick, about another 1/2 inch. That should accommodate for not hitting this every time we shut this back cover. So we're just going to cut that. And you don't have to have cutters for these things. You know, they're nice to use. I'm glad that I have one, but you know, you can do all of this with a pair of scissors. I did for a really long time. Now, I do have a problem here, and that is when let's see, is that straight? This is not straight. You can see the cardboard, but the reason it's not straight, I think, is because this was where it was glued in, and when I ripped it off, I think I ripped it off on an angle. So, I thought maybe I just glued my page in here on an angle, but the top is nice and straight. So I didn't. I ripped that at an angle. So we can cut that right where I was thinking. Sorry about that. But again, sometimes you just have to think these things through. And it's better if all of a sudden you're questioning yourself. Like, is that right or not? Stop for a second and figure it out. You know, give yourself that time. That's even kind of cool. Could be used maybe as a pocket or a tuck spot or something. So we'll keep that. And then I'm just going to cut straight along the edge of the page here. This was the original page, so I don't have to measure. I know it's as wide as this is. Alrighty, and then I think we'll look at this and see if we think we need to cut a little of that off or not. All right, so this one is going to go right in here. I'm going to line it up at the top. And it's going to close like this. So it is missing. It's missing our little part that's sticking up here. And it still looks good. So we're going to do it like that. And we're going to put it on with packing tape. I have to get my packing tape thing here. Because packing tape is just nice and strong. So it's a good way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of move the book for a second. Oh, that was way too long. I'm going to put my packing tape sticky side up. And then which side do I want to put in first? I think I want to put it open. I want to put it in like this first, which means I need the sticky side there. So I'm going to do like this and just try and line it up approximately in the middle and fairly straight, because you will see it in the book, but if it's not straight, it's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to cut off that excess tape right now so it's not in the way. And stick it on my tripod for another time. Okay. Now, we do have our fabric here. We're going to have this tape here and everything. I need to burnish that down. But that's okay, because I would prefer to like have this look with a little bit of, you know, stability between it versus just putting in something of my own later on. I'm going to butt that right up to the page that's there. I hope that that's it. Let's see how it closes. I think that one needs to go over just a little bit. I needed the bottom to come over just a little bit. It was a little crooked. There. Okay. Now I'm going to burnish that down without checking it again, because you could check it 500 times. I could anyway, so you have to kind of learn to say it is good enough. And that doesn't mean you're giving up or you're not doing a good job. It just makes it more enjoyable than just checking it over and over and over. Alrighty, so now we've got that there, and we are going to... I was going to use a piece of tape, but I don't want to use a piece of tape. The one that I cut off. This time I'll just be more careful. That looks about right. I'm going to start it on the cardboard, approximately half. Okay, now before you press it down to that inside cover, don't forget, press it onto that piece of cardboard. That, you know, the piece of cardboard has a lip to it, an edge, whatever you want to say, and you want to make sure that you're really tight against there before then you start making it tight against the back, so that you don't have an area where that tape is just in mid-air going from the top of here to here, and you have a gap along that seam. So there we go. Now we have that back cover on there, and we will do something with the inside of this spine when we get to the back. Open that up. That looks good. Okay, so now that's just kind of like an extra little place, because then inside this back section of our book, we've got all this area. We have all of this area to fill yet, but that's just kind of like a nice little, almost hidden spot. We could even maybe put a little magnet or latch or something to hold that closed until you opened it up yourself. So, and if you can see, it's just a little bit, it's a little bit too big. Maybe I got it over a little too far. Well, no, I did get it over a little too far. It wouldn't be a little too big. So, but I'm just gonna trim that off a little bit. And am I gonna do it with the cutter? We'll see. Oh, yeah, maybe we can. I'm just gonna line it up. Make sure you keep it pressed tight up against your, whatever your base is, so that it's straight. And let's see. Alrighty, so there we go. Now we can't see it anymore. Alrighty, our box sticks out just a little bit right there, but nothing we can do about that. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our back cover in, and I think that before, that's pretty dry. I think before I glue the spine back on, I am going to put the rice paper on. I'm gonna give it a quick hit with the heat gun. I'm gonna put the rice paper on it first, so the rice paper will be underneath the fabric that sticks out around the spine. And just because I like the looks of that fabric, so I want it to stick out. There we go. That's dry. Now, I've got white paint over here. Okay, it's dry. I don't want to get anything on the inside of my... Okay, now, do I want to go cover to cover? I think I just want to go to the top of the cover. I don't think I want to rip it or anything. I think that I do want it to fit up nicely. Okay, so I'm going to cut it a touch big. And cut it right about here. Just so that if I don't cut it perfectly straight, I don't have to worry about it not fitting. Or if I get it on there and it's glued down and it's a little crooked, so then it's not right. That's why it's nice to have just a little bit extra. You can always use those little extra bits once you cut them off for collage or snippets or something like that. All right, so that is going to go right there. And I'm going to use water glue. You can use Mod Podge. You can use, oh, they make all different types of gluey type things, you know, that just go up in price and up in price as they get better. But I find that my water glue works just fine. And water glue is 2 parts Elmer's glue, or white glue, actually. 2 parts of white glue to 1 part water, and then just mixed really well. And whenever you do water glue, Mod Podge, anything like that, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what the rules are, but you put it underneath and then you put it over top. And I find that things stick really well that way. I have seen people that just put it on the top or just put it on the bottom. And, you know, so that might work just fine too. I can't say that mine is the right way to do it. I'm just saying that that's the way I do it, and it works for me. I'm just going to put that on there. I only did about half so that I could get it on there and lined up and straight and everything. I don't want to be too far over into the spine area. It's a little crooked. Okay, now I'll do the bottom half. And then you can use anything that you have to give it a little bit of a press. If you're using tissue paper or napkin, again, I do top and bottom, but be careful if you're trying to smooth it down, because those are both really fragile. But if you have like a credit card or something, you can just use that to smooth out any air bubbles. The rice paper it looks as fragile as tissue paper, but it's not, because it has fibers in it. So I just use that sometimes too. And you know, wrinkles aren't bad either. You know, wrinkles are very tactile. They really feel nice, actually, sometimes. You know, like I like that. I like the feel of wrinkles on paper, so it doesn't have to be perfectly flat. And so I'm just going to cover the whole thing with this, and then it's going to have to dry. And then I am going to glue the spine back to the front cover and see if there was enough room there or not. And if it's not enough room, and I may think it's enough room now and later on think, oh, I wish I would have made it bigger, and then maybe I can make it bigger at that time. But catching the things that you're not sure about towards the beginning a lot of times does make it easier. Like catching that right now, it was not a big deal to pull that off of there. I wasn't really dealing with a whole lot of anything else. I wasn't taking a chance of like ripping my rice paper, because now the rice paper is going to be underneath of it. So always, kind of look at it and see if it looks the way you want it. Look at it and be amazed with the things you're doing. I do that a lot. I look at things and go, wow, I really like what I'm doing here. And that's the whole point, is to just enjoy it. So there we go. And now that's covered. Once it's dry, I will go in and trim off the edges. Now I might actually put a little bit of glue on the edge of the book, like right here, and wrap it around. I don't think I'm going to, because I'm afraid that will just want to kind of peel up, and I really did not want to wrap it to the inside of the cover. So I think that I'm going to just trim it right along the edges, and then maybe put a little alcohol ink on there. But that is what our front cover is going to look like, because our book will be going like this. And so that's our front cover. So I think that that's what we're going to do for today. And when we come back, I'll have the whole thing put back together. And let's see. So I kind of had a list here of what I wanted to get done today. And this is it, except for pulling off the spine. That I didn't have planned. But when I got to looking at it, it was like, oh, it's too tight. So thank you very much for stopping by. If you ever have any questions, just go ahead and feel free to ask. I know that I'm not real prompt at responding. I need to get more of a schedule, maybe, because I used to do it every single morning, so anything that came in the day before got answered the next morning. But I definitely will still answer you. I do go through, I read every comment, because they come across onto my phone. So I read every comment as soon as they come across. I just don't get a chance to get back to my computer and get them typed in, and trying to type them in on my phone is just really too hard, because I can't see it very well. I can't blow it up while I'm typing like I can blow it up while I'm reading, you know, what you've written. So I do apologize for late delays, but any questions, I will answer you. I will get back with you within a few days, hopefully. But at some point, definitely, you'll still get an answer. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you want to make sure that you see every video, if you click on the bell, you'll get a message that just says I have a video up. You can choose if you want to watch it or not. But I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.